I may not always agree with everything, all of your values. You may not necessarily agree with all of my values, but we respect the fact that we can discuss and work and maybe reach to some kind of a consensus.
It's listening to them, understanding them, and then finding a way to stretch the heart and mind to consider other possibilities. But that takes, and I agree, it takes relationship building and patient love and real solidarity.
I think that's what you need to do, is to listen to local people, be willing to listen to local people. And I think go in with the idea, what we call epistemic humility, the idea that I could be wrong. What I think is best for you may not be what's best for you. And then use that as a starting point for developing a relationship of trust, where they know that I respect. I may not always agree with everything, all of your values. You may not necessarily agree with all of my values, but we respect the fact that we can discuss and work and maybe reach to some kind of a consensus about these values, and work within and build a relationship that respects the dignity of everybody involved, not only myself and the other leaders, but that recognizes the dignity of the people that we're going to be affecting by what the projects that we're bringing in.
Yeah, I definitely concur. I think it's walking in and respecting every individual and respecting them as human persons and letting the conversation build, from that mutual respect and the desire for each other's good and well-being and flourishing and understanding that, because of for many reasons, especially as Catholics, we approach things from our principles and an understanding of those principles, but not everybody that we encounter understands those principles, has ever been introduced to those principles, and doesn't work from that mindset. So, but they have their own principles and their own mindset, and it's listening to them, understanding them, and then finding a way to stretch the heart and mind to consider other possibilities. But that takes, and I agree, it takes relationship building and patient love and real solidarity. That this is what I love about the Catholic Church in so many ways, is that when she enters into her charitable work, it's because it begins with response to a human need. And it doesn't matter what ethic, what religious background they're from, or, or religious belief. It's a human need. That's the first and immediate response. Then, and only then, after that immediate need has been dealt with, then the conversation, after building trust and relationships, you can then build the conversation and broaden your influence.
And and both sides have to recognize that people may not, one or the other may not always get what they want. When I worked with the clinic in Padibe, one of the things they want and still want is an X-ray machine. And I understand, they have a lot of tuberculosis, and an X-ray machine would be good for that. But looking at assessing their needs from my perspective as a physician, I determined a portable ultrasound would be much more useful for them, not because while it couldn't use it so much in terms of tuberculosis, they could use it for their maternity care. They could use it for, it's a better way of picking up other diseases, even pneumonias, than an X-ray. Gives them more insight in terms of the abdomen. And so they didn't get their X-ray, but they did get an ultrasound. But we worked together, and we also paid them for the training of that person. So they didn't get exactly what they wanted, but in a sense, they got what they needed.